Okay. It says I'm live. Let's see. Chats. All right. Anyone that's watching this late, go ahead and fast forward a little bit, maybe a 30 minutes, 30 seconds to a minute, and I'll jump right in. So, yesterday I finally got around to watching some videos for the Maga hats worn by the Catholic school from Kentucky, I believe. Bunch of white kids, right? Evil, right? And they were at a monument waiting for their bus, and there happened to be other groups out there protesting about whatever it is they were protesting about. One group had to be was Native Americans, and I get the whole Native American thing and the upset and the landscape change and upset about a lot of their land, if not this country, being taken over by foreigners, thus Americans today. I get that. And then there was another group out there called the Black Israelites or something like that. And they were actually taunting or saying things to the kids like white cracker, um, racist things, and saying, future school shooters of America or something like that. Just taunting them. And the kids were like, just out there, right? As far as I know, there's no video surfacing saying that they were saying racial slurs, that they were saying build the wall, that they were taunting other groups out there. They were just out there. And story I heard it was that they actually asked one of the teachers that were on site, can we do our school chant song to kind of drown out the noise over there? Those guys are saying things. So they were getting all the attention, right? Because they were up, you know, people see a bunch of white kids jumping up and down wearing the MAGA hats. Must be evil. Let's get out the cameras and let's start recording it and see what comes about it. Well, of course, it makes the news, right? Because it's controversy. It's another reason to say Trump is evil, and anyone that wears his hats or follows him or voted for him is evil too. But instead of taking the facts of it and saying, okay, what happened? The news media blew it up over the weekend. They even interviewed this Native American guy who had an opportunity to speak on national television for his cause and say, okay, here's why I'm out here. Here's what we want. Instead of focusing on that, they were focusing on because the news media didn't care about his reason for out there. Otherwise, they'd have been out there broadcasting it from the get go. Instead, they focused on this whole event, this standoff between him and this white kid who was wearing the MAGA hat and staring him down, and he was staring him back down, and they were just staring at each other, and that's what made the whole thing. So of course, the news media takes it, they spin it, they make a good story out of it, right? Fake news, and everybody's upset. The country's upset. How could these kids do this? This arrogant little bastards, and um, that's not what happened. They were standing there. They didn't go up to other groups. They weren't saying racial things. The Native American comes from out of nowhere who could have stayed wherever he was at, decides to walk over to this group, chanting and hitting the drum, beating the drum. The kids were just standing there. They were there waiting for their school bus. Whether you want to think that they're evil or little bastards, at least get the facts straight. Here he comes. There and then there's even video footage of one of the guys that's with the Native American who also is Native American. He was he was he was a little vocal, right? He was a little he sounded angry, you know. He was talking pretty bad to one of the kids and I don't want to hear that, blah blah blah, and this is, upset. You could tell he's generally angry. Again, I get it with the Native Americans. I like the Native Americans. You know, there's history behind it. Uh, I I admire their culture. I admire everything about Native Americans that have history here in America, and I can understand and see why they are upset. I would be too. So then, what ticks me off the most is that, you know, here I am trying to have a discussion with family members, not telling the whole story. There I am having to find a Joe Rogan clip, which I'll try to link later after this video. If not, go check out Joe Rogan with um, Barry Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss. She's a news journalist person. She's been on a bunch of different talk shows. Even she said when she initially saw this video, she was upset. She was appalled, but these white kids wearing the Maga hats were just, you know, the symbolism of racism, right? It's what most of America looked at, right? Oh my God, these kids, right? These evil little bastards. And then she said, you know, as a news journalist, I had to separate how I felt on the story versus getting the facts, finding out what happened. And sure enough, she said, you know, my research found these kids never chanted "Build the Wall." They weren't saying racial slurs. Um, Everything that was portrayed by the news media was not correct. It was false. And they never came back and said, "Hey, you know what? We made a mistake. We reported it wrong. They just kind of spun it into something else, right? Well, here's what really happened. Whatever. Not saying, "Hey, that we previously reported this that was incorrect. Here are the facts." This kid got death threats, and then it comes to find out social media, social warriors found the wrong kid, and they were harassing him and his family. I mean, is that where we're at in America? Is that where we are at this point, harassing teenagers instead of trying to educate ourselves and say, let's find out the facts first. And then if the facts are correct, okay, we can be angry. I'm not saying go after this kid. At the end of the day, he's a teenager. They are teenagers. They're going to be shitheads, right? That's not what happened. It just infuriates me that, you know, a lynch mob wants to go after these kids that did nothing wrong. As far as any video evidence out there, there's nothing that proves that they actually were being racist. Um, I, I'm done trying to have a conversation with people that are unwilling to listen, that will not compromise. Does the president say stupid stuff at times? Yes. Is, does he lie or twist the story? Yes, like a lot of other politicians out there. Is he perfect? No. I think keep in mind a lot of people voted for this guy because they were sick and tired of the year in and year out same politicians that don't do shit for this country, that take a payout from big corporations to swing votes their way. And I'm going to leave you with this. You think about this: when you're born to the day you die, when you are born and the day you're dead, is it going to matter if you were born next to somebody that's Republican or Democrat, or if the doctor or nurse delivered you? You think your parents cared that a Republican or Democrat was touching you at delivery? No. When you die, do you think your family member is going to say, "Hey, sorry you're catching this video late. Go back to the beginning. I'm about to close this up." Um, But do you think your family's going to say, "Oh, at the funeral home, let me just make sure, was anybody Republican or Democrat? Because I don't want them touching their body." They're not going to care about that. They're not going to care if you're Democrat or Republican when they embalminate you and bury you. And you're not going to care when your family member is buried as somebody that's white, black, or brown, Republican or Democrat. It's not going to matter. People, wake up. There's bigger issues that you can resolve and do when you are alive and you're capable. And for all you guys out there that think Trump's going to be in office forever, he's not going to be in office forever. His chances of reelection are 50-50. You know, we'll see. He got 2 more years to do some stuff. Let's see what happens. In another year or two, a lot of people that voted for him may swing the other way. It really depends. As I told my wife last night, I was not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. If that was the option, Donald Trump or Hillary, she was not going to get my vote, period. Anyway, guys, that's it. I got to run. Have a good day. And It's sad. I mean, you can't even have a decent conversation with the other side because they're unwilling to listen, they're unwilling to negotiate, and that side's going to say the same thing about our side. You just can't compromise, and that's where we're at in America, and it's sad. I guess shit will have to hit the fan for us to realize and open our eyes to say, look, we need to be better than that. Because at the rate that we're continuing this, I think shit will hit the fan in politics to everyday life. Let's see what happens next month with the EBT if the government's still shut down. It's gonna be a lot of people pissed off, a lot of people rioting, I think. So will it change anything and make it better? No, because we have to communicate. We have to find a way to get along and talk to each other and compromise and say, look, you want this, we want that, let's meet in the middle. So that way we both get something.